So the idea is talk. I'm doing the introduction, so I will talk a little bit about the agreement. Afterwards, we'll have the coordinators of both programs, Denise Duarte of the FAUUSP program, and Professor Luca Gaeta from the PhD of Politecnico. And afterwards, we'll have one professor of ours that is Professor Roberta Cronca, because she established contact with Professor Alessandro Balducci, and he will tell a little bit about it from a supervisor point of view. And afterwards, we'll have Mariana, who is our first double degree student. Fortunately, Mariana was a student, a former student of ours, so it was easier for us to do this agreement. Just some precedents. I was a visiting professor in the master course of POLIMI, and that's when I met Professor Luca and also Professor Carolina, who is the coordinator of the master. And we started talking about a possibility of PhD double degree agreement. Afterwards, we decided on an umbrella, what we call here an umbrella agreement, that is an agreement that allows many students to do this. It's different from a individual agreement that would work only for one student. This is an umbrella, so the students that want to join can join. They have, of course, to have an individual work plan, but they can join this umbrella agreement. It was signed in 6 April this year, and so it's for 5 years, so it's until 2027. And as I said, Mariana was also my assistant, like a PI student in Brazil. In POLIMI, and she, as I said, she was a former student here, and she's doing her PhD there. So we have this has our first double degree student, and it's planned, as I was saying, an academic mission to Milan in the first semester of 2023, and in that mission we will decide on joint courses, and also about the possibility of urban design workshop in São Paulo in 2024. This is just to show some data. It's not so important, but I think what's interesting is that both USP and Politecnico are well ranked in the international rankings, and in the Times Higher Education in architecture, we are also very similar. Of course, there are differences between the number of students. Politecnico is more focused in architecture, engineering, design, and University of São Paulo is very plural with many courses, and also the importance of internationalization. Polytechnic has already 15% of their students foreigners, and we only have 2%. But as we know, both institutions are being pressed in order to internationalize. This is just to show the agreement, and I will talk a bit about it. So it's a double PhD agreement between the Programa de Pós-Graduação em Arquitetura e Urbanismo da Faculdade de Arquitetura e Urbanismo da USP and the PhD in Urban Planning, Design and Policy of the Dipartimento di Arquitetura e Studi Urbani of Politecnico di Milano. Of course, the objective is to obtain a PhD degree from each institution, satisfying the requirements of both institutions. The admission will be done by each institution. So students, PhD students for POLIMI can ask to be here, and PhD students from USP can ask to join this PhD. But the students will only have to be admitted in one of the courses. They don't have to do the process of both courses. Of course, there is some bureaucracy for us to indicate our student to be there, and also from POLIMI to be here. So they have to be supervisors in both institutions, and they have to be enrolled at least in one of these institutions. The language requirements, and that's why we are doing this webinar in English, is that the candidate must have a good knowledge of English. We will see afterwards that the final dissertation will be in English, but also we'll have to learn, this is in the agreement, the language of the other country. So Portuguese if they come to USP, or Italian if they go to POLIMI. The starting date, this is we are always worried about this because it at the end it says how many time we will spend. It's the first doctorate starting. You don't have to be from the beginning both programs. Of course, you can choose during your program. You will have to have at least 6 months in the host institution. But of course, if you can decide it in your first or second year, it's better, of course, because then you have more time to plan it. And the duration is equal for both 4 years. We also have here our PhD in 4 years. Exceptionally, it can be extended for one more year, but we know that this is quite difficult from the bureaucratic point of view. But anyway, there is this possibility. The research studies will be carried at the two institutions during alternate or consecutive periods. And as I said, at least you are supposed to, the students that join this double PhD are supposed to be 6 months in the host university. Of course, you can go to other institutions as well if useful for your studies, and both supervisors agree. If I'm not wrong, Mariana also went to Portugal now. So before Brazil and and Italy, she also went to Portugal. She can say a little bit about it afterwards. The fees, well, the candidate will be enrolled at both institutions, but they will only pay the fees in their home institution. As we know here in University of São Paulo, it's a free university, so you don't students from Brazil don't have to pay for fee at POLIMI because they are enrolled here, and POLIMI also wouldn't have to pay for fees here because they are enrolled there. The PhD candidate must have an insurance before going to the host institution, and of course, this agreement does not imply in financial support by the partner institutions. Of course, the candidates can have scholarships and grants, and we will help them to have that. But the schools themselves won't finance when the student go to the other institution. Each institution will appoint a professor as a thesis supervisor. Yeah, of course, the two supervisors will be responsible for the PhD candidate. You are supposed to have to take the courses, disciplinas, and then I put in red because I'm not sure about it yet. We have to talk with our secretaries and offices probably because the credit is in Europe. As far as I know, they differ a little bit from the credits in Brazil. But anyway, this agreement started with POLIMI, so you're supposed to have at least 15 credits from POLIMI and at least 30 ECT credits in total. Then we'll have I'll have to work a little bit more on that to know, because as far as I understand, one European credit is like half of ours. So you probably want to have 2 credits in Brazil to have the same equality. But I will check with our graduate office and also ask our Italian friends to ask their graduate office as well. Well, we're supposed to doing research work and qualifying examination when requested, Brazil requests, but you will follow the main area, the main requirements of your host institution. Not no your the institution you are in, not the one that you're going. Yeah, so probably Italian students will have to do a qualifying examination, but Brazilians will. Okay, PhD dissertation will be written in English, summary in languages of both institutions. Well, as I said, each institution will separate, examine, and evaluate the progress of the PhD candidate and transmit the results to the other institution. The committee of the thesis, the examination board, a banca, will be 5 members, the 2 supervisors and 3 professors, at least 2 external of both institutions. Of course, the supervisors will agree who they were going to invite for the examination board. The defense will be in English, and we don't have this here, but it's on the agreement. Italy probably asks. The external examiners will have to do a written report before the defense, okay? Final evaluation and award of title. So you will have both Doutorato di Ricerca in Urban Planning and Design and Policy by Politecnico di Milano e Doutor em Ciências, Arquitetura e Urbanismo by University of São Paulo. You will have two diplomas and an addend, a note in each diploma saying that you have another diploma for the other institution. As I said, the PhD candidate will assume expenses for their travel. Of course, you will be able to use the laboratories and the classrooms of FAUUSP and POLIMI. Yeah? This is also in the agreement, so I put there the travel expense for the supervisors will be in charge of the research funds or their institutions, but we also can have virtual vivas as hybrid viva is allowed in both institutions. So it will depend, of course, on the disponibility of this money for us to travel. But the PhD candidate will have to assume their expenses for travel. And the coordination are Professor Luca Gaeta and me are the coordinators of the agreement. So just summarizing, because I'm talking too much already, I should advise the ones that want to do it to find a potential supervisor in the host institution, establish contact with him or her, and put your supervisor also in contact with the other supervisor, and they must agree in the work plan with at least 6 months in the host institution, prepare a letter of commitment and a work plan. Nothing, well, very complicated, but you have to say how long you're staying in the host institution, and of course, they had to be approved by the supervisors and by Luke and me. The students and supervisors must inform the institution secretaries to register their participation, and after the completion, both institutions, the student will defend his or her thesis in the home institution with the presence of both supervisors. This is just to show the letter of commitment and the work plan. And this is just to say that we still have the print program, and we have a sandwich PhD program from CAPS Print. Of course, it's doing a competition basis, so Brazilian students will have to compete for it if they want to go to POLIMI. The good thing is that POLIMI is one of the preferred universities by CAPES, so you have a high score if you apply for the sandwich PhD program. And also FAPESP has also Bolsa de Estágio de Pesquisa for FAPESP scholars. Well, that's it. Thank you for attention. Sorry if I took longer than I expected to, and I will ask Professor Denise, who is our coordinator, to do a little presentation of our program. Please, Denise.
Thanks a lot, Edu. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see in the presentation mode?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah? Well, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for being here in this webinar. I will talk a little bit more about the graduate program in architecture and urbanism at our school. Edu is the chair of the graduate commission. I am the head of the program, and my vice head is Professor Paula Santoro. A little about the history of our school. The Faculty of Architecture and Urbanism was created in 1948, and the graduate course started in 1971. In 2003, the faculty started the second undergraduate course in design, and in 2017, the graduate course in design, which is running. Both are running at the moment. Our graduate program is ranked 5 in CAPES evaluation. This is the Brazilian national evaluation. We have a stricto sensu program encompassing master and PhD, and the ones interested can consult the program bylaws in our website. Just to have an idea about the program, in 2022, currently, we are among 85 supervisors, plenum supervisors. We have more than 200 master candidates, more than 250 PhD candidates holding previously a master science degree, and 18 direct PhD candidates without a previous master science degree. In total, we have almost 500 students. As I said before, the graduate program started in 1971. The first master class began in 1973, and the doctoral course had its first class in 1980, being the only PhD course in architecture in Brazil until 1998. This is the reason that we have graduated most of the teaching staff and the graduation program coordinators in the country. Many graduated here at our school. We have among 80 accredited disciplines in the course. About 25 are offered every academic semester. For the Brazilian students in general, the master dissertation and PhD thesis can be written and defended in Portuguese, English, or Spanish. Of course, to follow the double degree with Politecnico di Milano, you have to follow specific regulations for that, and the thesis is in English with abstracts in the other languages. For the master, we have 27 months in total for the deposit of the dissertation, with a qualification exam, an intermediate exam in the middle, more or less in the middle at 13 months, being usually 4 disciplines and the other credits for the dissertation itself. The program requires at least 1 publication before finishing, and the title at the end is Master of Science, specifying the program and the respective concentration area. I'm going to talk a little bit more after this. For the PhD, we have 48 months in total for the end of in the deposit of the PhD thesis, being usually 2 disciplines to complete, and the other credits on the thesis writing and completion. For the PhDs, we require at least 2 publications before finishing, and the title, the same way, is Doctor of Science, specifying the program and the indication of the respective concentration area. Regarding the fellowships and other funding related to the program, we have 2 federal agencies, CAPES and CNPq. Now we are briefing a little bit more after the election, so we expect that CAPES and CNPq will be rescued and survive the last 4 years. So we wait a lot for a revival of the funding, because they were very difficult in the last 4 years. And we have the São Paulo Research Foundation, which is the most strong state research foundation in Brazil. Of course, it is very competitive. The projects have to be submitted anytime by the student and the supervisor by their own. And for the ones granted at FAPESP, they can apply for the International Academic Trainee and Internship grant. It's a special grant that can be asked and allow a PhD student to spend until 1 year abroad. The other funding offered by the University of São Paulo, by CAPES, and by the faculty are programs for internship as assistant teaching activities, PROAP, which is the grant that we have for the program, PRINT for international studies, and Univesp, another grant from the University of São Paulo, which is feasible for the graduate students. Regarding the national and international agreements, the ones interested can consult the USP agreements, the USP agreements, the FAUUSP agreements, specific for the Faculty of Architecture, the PhD double degree with UAV, which is running, now the PhD double degree with POLIMI, and disciplines in other graduate programs. So the students can follow the courses in other institutions, in the federal ones, for example, and ask to use these credits for their completion. It's very common to have this cooperation, and besides that, offering disciplines together with other programs as well. So this program have 7 concentration areas called Habitat, History and Fundamentals of Architecture and Urbanism, Landscape and Environment, Urban and Regional Planning, Architectural Design, Design, Space and Culture, and Technology of Architecture and Urbanism. Among the 7 concentration areas, we have about 19 research lines. So it's about 3 or 4 each, depending on the concentration area you are interested in, and more than 250 ongoing research projects conducted by the teaching staff and the researchers. Just to be into detail a little bit more in one of these areas, the disciplines in each one of these areas. In Habitat, for example, addresses the right to the city, production, and intervention in the formal and informal urban space. In history, you can follow courses in history of architecture, urbanism, and arts in Brazil and Latin America mainly, in the foundations and techniques of restoration and architecture and urban conservation. In the third area, landscape and environment, you can follow courses regarding foundations of public policies, plans, and projects of environmental systems and free spaces and their cultural constraints. In the fourth one, urban and regional planning, you can follow courses regarding theories and practices, regulation, production, formulation of public policies, plans, and intervention projects of the urban and regional space. In the architectural design, you can follow courses regarding methods, practices, and concepts of architectural design in public equipment. In the sixth one, design, space, and culture, you can follow artistic, cultural, and design issues of Brazilian architecture and urbanism. And finally, at the technology of architecture and urbanism, construction techniques, safety and post-occupancy evaluation, climate issues and comfort in the building and urban areas, modeling, representation, and space information. So for the regular students, and I recommend also for the interchange students or the double agree students, there are some important links. Please find the concentration area you are interested in. Then look for the research lines, the specific research lines in each one of those. Then look at the research projects from the supervisors which are running. We have more than 105 and 50 ongoing research projects that can be seen at Civilates for the ones speaking Portuguese, OrcID, or many of us have ResearchGate also, so it's easy to find. And then prepare the research project for your application. So thanks a lot for your attention, and I'm at your disposal for any doubts. Thanks a lot, Edu.
Thank you very much, Denise. You are more on time than I was. Thank you very much. Now, I think I will pass the word for Luca, who is the head of the PhD in Urban Planning, Policy, and Design of POLIMI. He will talk a little bit about the program. So, Luca, please, if we can show you. Do you have a presentation? Yeah? Open your mic, please, Luca.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I share my screen.
Okay. Do you know how to do it? Because Google Meet is a little bit
I'm not
different.
familiar with Google Meet. I try.
You have down, you have like present now. It's like an arrow up inside, yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes, try to put in the presentation mode. It's already in the presentation mode for you? No.
No.
Okay.
In the button on the right.
I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's perfect. Thank you. Can start. Thank you, Luca.
So Thank you very much for having me today in this meeting. First of all, let me say that we are very happy with this agreement involving our institutions and also involving Mariana as a candidate, not because it is the first one, but because it was inspiring. It was adopted as a model by the PhD school in Politecnico di Milano because it has two parts. One that is general, the umbrella, as Eduardo called it, and the second one, which is specific to the candidate. This is a replicable model that we are considering for extension currently in Milano. Now, I say something regarding the PhD program in urban planning, design, and policy. I'm the coordinator since 2019 and will be until the end of 2024. First, the PhD structure. This PhD programs was started in 2012, so 10 years ago, even though the PhD was created in Italy in the early 1980s, and Politecnico di Milano ran one of the very first PhD programs in the 1980s, together with Turin and Venice. Our aim is training early research careers in the field of urban studies according to the best international standards. We use English as a language for teaching and for any kind of activity involving candidates. The programs has two main objectives that you can see here: investigating the full extent and impact of contemporary urban changes with a strong focus on the urban dimension. And second, but not less important, understanding how to govern urban changes through planning, design, and policymaking practices. These are quite broad objectives, but we think that they are quite enough for candidates to have their own specific research proposal included in this broad framework. And accordingly, the majority of our research projects focus on multiple aspects and drivers of change in contemporary cities, look to the advancements in planning theory and practice, and to innovations in urban studies and urban design. The main body in our PhD program is the Board of Professors, which is vested with the responsibility of designing and implementing the educational program. Within this body, a coordinator chairs, meets me at the moment, and manages the day-by-day activities according to the educational programs and the regulations adopted by Politecnico di Milano. You can see the name of 25 professors now forming the board of professors in Milan. They are mostly urban planners, but also we have sociologists, economists, urban designers, architects, and others, because we think it is important for us to move towards interdisciplinarity as a way of working and doing research. At the moment, in our program, we have 52 candidates enrolled. 50% of them are Italian, 50% are from very different countries, from South and North America, from Asia, and from Europe mainly. You can see their names. They are divided by cycles because this is the way we, of course, each year have a new cohort of candidates enrolled, and they are called a new cycle. I take the chance of this slide to say something about funding, because there is no this point in my presentation. You see the 37th and the 38th, the new one, are the largest because we have received a large number of scholarships, particularly because of the Next Generation EU funding and the Italian Piano Nazionale di Resilienza Recovery and Resilience, I cannot remember the Italian word. This makes possible for us to grant a higher than usual number of scholarship and attracting candidates. To give you an idea, on a yearly basis, Politecnico receives 100 scholarships from the ministry. This year, we have received twice this number by the Next Generation EU funds. So you can imagine it is a huge step forward. It changes the dimension of the PhD in our university and makes it much more attractive and challenging for us to manage. This PhD program is based in a department, the Department of Architecture and Urban Studies, already mentioned by Eduardo. DASTU is one of the most important research structures in Italy, the largest department in the field of urban studies and architecture, with a broad international and growing international network of partners, including your university, and very much open to cooperation with institutional and social actors in Milan, in the Lombardy region, and at the national scale. DASTU is one out of 180 Italian departments selected and awarded by the Ministry of University and Research for 5 years as part of the initiative called the Departments of Excellence. We are now preparing an application for being funded for the next 5 years, according to the same initiative. DASTU, we are not the only program, PhD program in DASTU. We are also hosting 2 more programs in architectural, urban and interior design, and in architectural preservation. We collaborate very much, and we have some joint teaching with these other 2 programs, because of course our candidates have some common backgrounds, and we have some common objectives in promoting research. Massimo Bricoccoli is the current director and candidate to become director for the next 3 years. Shortly on the teaching activities, we have a minimum compulsory request for candidates to get 25 credits, and this may be collected through mandatory and eligible courses. The mandatory for our programs are the course on research design and the workshop on territorial fragilities, already mentioned by Eduardo as an opportunity for cooperation among us. And then there is a long list of courses on soft and transferable skills offered by the PhD school. One word on the PhD school. This is the school including all 20 PhD programs which are now active at Politecnico di Milano and covering engineering, design, and architecture and planning. So this PhD school has a director, as a board formed by the PhD coordinators, including me, and also as a technical staff and administrative staff, and is extremely helpful for us. It complements what we can do with a number of very important activities. Among the courses on soft and transferable skills, I just highlight the one by Professor Alessandro Balducci, a member of our board, on approaches to resilience, which will be repeated this year. And I say this because it is also possible for students from other universities to apply for this course, for this single course, in case they are interested in it. The training path. It is a 3-year normally training path. In this path, fundamentals are 2 figures, the tutor and the supervisor. For each candidate, a tutor is appointed at the very beginning from the board of professors to support and assist the candidate during the whole path. But the PhD research proper is developed under the guidance of a supervisor. This figure can be external or internal to the board of professors and may be affiliated to an institution different from Politecnico. In case of double agreements or based on the candidate's research plan and needs, a co-supervisor may also be appointed. We take care that the relationship between PhD candidate, tutor, and supervisor are based on mutual respect and collaboration. This year, we will be starting signing an agreement at the beginning, stating what are the respective duties and responsibilities in this important relationship for developing the research potential of candidates. Quickly, in the first year, our candidates take the mandatory and eligible courses, and they have 3 milestones, a preliminary one in February, an intermediate in July, and the final in October for admission to the second year. The second year is quite different in its structure because candidates are expected to do these 3 activities: a 6 months internship abroad in a foreign university or agency, an international seminar after the internship abroad to discuss the preliminary research results, and at least 1 paper presented and hopefully published into an international journal. The third year is completely dedicated to writing the PhD thesis, supported by, of course, the supervisors and the board of professors. Regular meetings are held with the supervisor, and by mid-October, in the third year, candidates are supposed to present a draft to be examined by the board of professors. Then, according to the Italian law, the thesis is examined by 2 external and independent reviewers before being submitted to an international jury for the final exam. This is a list, not complete, of international partners we work with for training activities, for seminars, for visiting, and also for joint or double PhD agreements. And last, our advisory board it includes academics, but not only, also policymakers and people who work with important positions in European research centers. Okay, this is it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much, Luca. I think it was quite important for us to see that, because then we can have an idea of what the PhD at POLIMI is for the Brazilian students, of course. Now I will ask Roberta Cronca, Professor Roberta Cronca, to say a little words about the possibilities of joint research. She is doing this research with Mari and Professor Alessandro Balducci that was cited by Professor Luca Gaeta. So please, Roberta, can you talk to us, please?
Yes, first I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm very honored because I really believe in this agreement between FAUUSP and POLIMI, and also as Mariana supervisor in this PhD research. I'm going to show you a little bit about the background of this research also, but the idea is not only to, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
The idea was to talk a little bit about some research possibilities, but also talk a little bit about how I start to have research with POLIMI. In 2012, I was invited to participate in this network, WC2, World Cities, World Class University network. And that time, POLIMI also participate in this network. The main focus of this network was to develop this network, in fact, was created to develop the goal of bringing together top universities located in the heart of the major cities in the world, address culture, environment, and political issues of common interest in these cities and also in these universities. At that time, also POLIMI and University of São Paulo were universities that create the network, and we have participated in this network. University of São Paulo, Tongji University in China, Universidade Autônoma Metropolitana, UNAM, in Mexico, RMIT in Australia, Technische Universität Berlin, Peter the Great Polytechnic University, Harrison University, City University New York, and University of City London. And of course, POLIMI. At that time, POLIMI was developing the campus sustainability and working with the areas of people, energy, environment, mobility, city, food and health. And to organize the network, Alessandro Balduc suggests to create inside this network a team that we call Eco Campus. Then, only to give you the example, we have other teams, but I started to work in this team, Eco Campus. We have other areas like cybersecurity, knowledge, culture and urban affairs, business, global health, transport, and Eco Campus. I need to talk briefly about my background because at that time I started to work at university staff as deputy head of environmental agency and also technical advisor. And it was great for me not only to work as in the staff of university, but also to use the policies of University of São Paulo also in my research. That was very good. At that time, and we started to work together, also talking with Alessandro, and at that time I have the possibility to be the master dissertation supervisor of Mariana, and she started to work with Eco Campus as a sustainable aspect, its implementation and actions with emphasis on the campus of University of São Paulo. We also understand the importance of city campus, not only to reinforce the role of the university in our cities, but guaranteeing not only the inseparability of teaching, of research extension, but also guaranteeing the quality of our cities. And I think that the main focus of this agreement is not only to talk about the research, but also I think that the main goal of this agreement is to reinforce the role of our universities. In fact, here we cannot only have the opportunity to show our research, but also to outline new researches reinforcing our responsibility as university in these cities. that was my presentation. I don't know if you have some questions, but I think that we can talk about that later. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Roberta, very much. I think it's quite important for us to see these possibilities of exchange and common interests of our courses. So now I will ask Mariana, because as she's our first double PhD student, then she can say a little bit about the routine and what she's doing. So Mariana, if you can please share your thoughts with us, please.
Okay. First of all, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation, Professor Eduardo. So I didn't prepare a presentation because rather I prefer to tell about my personal experience about this double degree agreement. So as you know, I am Mariana. I'm in the third year of the PhD program in urban planning, design, and policy from the DASTO department here from Politecnico di Milano. And I decided to come to Milan and to study at Politecnico, not only because it's an international recognized university, but also because my father did his postdoc here in the engineering department and when I was 4 years old. So my family lived here for almost 2 years. And then my father told me that it was an amazing time because I don't remember too much, I was super little. And so I decided to try this experience 30 years later. So I am graduated in Architecture and Urbanism for the University of Mackenzie. I did an MBA from the Fundação Getúlio Vargas, and then I did my master's degree at FAUUSP, supervised by Professor Roberta. And then I'm doing my PhD program here with Professor Balducci, and then now with the agreement with both universities. You may be asking why many different schools you have been chosen. So well, I believe that changes and try to new opportunities is a way of learning and discover new narratives and have new experience. And it was research means to me to always be able to learn and new different perspectives and to provoke my curiosity. So as Professor Gaeta already explained a little bit about the program, so the first year is basically the attendance of the courses, the workshop related to the fragile territories, which is related with my thematic, and also the development of the methodology of your research project. On the second year, you have to do your experience abroad. In our case, because I started in November of 2019, and then we have the COVID situation, I had to postpone this period abroad to the third year. So in the second year, I just took advantage to read more, to review my literature, to structure my index, and to participate in online workshops. And so in this third year, I did my period abroad of 5 years with a collaborative research with Paulo Lisboa, and then now I'm doing a collaborative research also with FAUUSP with the supervision of Professor Roberta. So in our case, we have to deliver our thesis in the end of January. In the last few months, I will spend more time at the University of São Paulo. But since July, I have already developing my activities with Professor Roberta, took the courses also at FAUUSP, and to finish the thesis. So what I want to share about also is that the international seminar that you do after you have this period abroad is super important because you have feedbacks and really constructive comments about your thesis if your ideas and structures is well guided. So and also personal advice is participate on workshops, conferences, write papers. All of these help you to guide on the development of your thesis, also together with the guidance of your supervisor. So writing papers, be able to present your work for another people, and have this kind of sharing experiences among different researchers around the world. So I have to tell also that the PhD pathway itself, it's a lonely ride. So have these opportunities is very important also to create social environments. And also talking about brief about this agreement, I believe that doing a collaborative research, meaning work with two different universities or three in my case, it's a possibility to build new knowledge and to also understand how university works in different ways. So in my case, it opened up more to a new thematic because in my master's, I was dealing with the role of universities in the environmental field. And now I push to the social role of universities in the fragile territories. So I think that it's also open up for more diverse kind of thematics, and also to have the pleasure to work again with Professor Roberta and Balducci all together. And I think that this opportunity not only enrich your research, but also try new experience. Here at the Politecnico di Milano, we have this beautiful campus, which is located in Campus Leonardo in the city, in Citai study area of the city of Milan. And we had now a very nice room that all the PhD students can study. And here it's where you create your social environment. So you study together, you can have a coffee, have a lunch together, have nice conversations, exchange your experience about the research, talk about everything. So I think this is because when you arrive in another country with another language, everything in the beginning is super difficult. So when you are able to make friends and to be more familiar with the space, it's easier for you to create this environment and also to learn about the language. Ho imparato un poco italiano, però I still have to learn more. But it's also the beginning to have more conversations, and also here with colleagues which speak, they speak Italian with me, so which is really good. So just to finish, in my PhD is not a path, and doing another university is also, you have your difficulties, but it's an amazing experience, not only for your professional growth, but also for your personal growth. So education could give me plenty of opportunities to meet amazing people, amazing professors, amazing students, and to be able to share this kind of research and discover new cultures. And if you come to Milan, you can have amazing cappuccinos and amazing gelatos. So, and have the opportunity to be here in this amazing campus as well. So I hope I could give you a little bit of my personal experience. So that's it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will be here for answers.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mariana. Thank you for you all. I think we have like 10 or 12 students. Most of them are from FAUUSP, but we also have someone from POLIMI. So I think we can open now for questions, because of course, if you subscribe that you are interested on it, so who wants to make some questions? Luca Di Biasi open his camera. Maybe he wants to ask something. No, Luca? No. Okay. Any questions? I think it's important that we have all this, the coordinators of the agreement and the courses, so that you have any doubts. It's very useful if you can ask them. So, any questions? No? No one? Okay. So, yeah, okay. Henen raised her hand. Yes, Henen, please. If you can open your camera as well. Henen?
She's mute.
Yeah. Henen, are you there? Oh, no. Anyone else? She raised her hand, but we can either see her nor listen to her. Ah, yeah, she sent a message here, said well, if you want to come back again, to go out and come back, then maybe you can open your camera and talk to us. Otherwise, we will. If
Yes,
nobody.
or write
Oh
the
yeah,
doubt in
write it. Yeah, you can
the
write
chat.
in the chat, Renee, if you are not able to. She went out. Maybe let's see if she comes back and.
Hi, I'm on. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. So I have two questions.
Yeah.
First of all, how the not speaking Italian language can affect my productivity in the program. I think Mari can help me with that. And also, I know that University Politecnico di Milano has a lot of other departments, and as São Paulo University, you can go through all the other departments like geography or economics. I would like to know if I will have any opportunities or how is this connection with other departments in the university. So I have a great interest in some classes in management department regarding urban administration or public administration, especially in tools of management in urban administration and public policies. So if I will be able, or how is this connection with other departments that I can like join a more diverse and multidisciplinary thesis, perhaps?
Okay.
Thank
So I
you.
think Mariana may talk a little bit about the first question, and then Luca can talk about the second. Okay. All right. So Mariana, can you say something?
Yes, so as it's an international program, everybody here speaks English, but it's also nice to learn Italian. I think it's an easy way to communicate in not in only in the university, but outside in the city. And but English, if you speak English, I think it's necessary and okay because it's an international program. But learning Italian, it's also a good idea. So I would look for having this experience as well.
Thank you, Mariana. Luca, can you talk about
Yes, regarding the second question, at the beginning, students prepare a study plan. In this study plan, they are free to include other courses offered by the master level and offered by other PhD programs. It is based on agreement. Of course, this needs to be discussed with the supervisor and with me, but normally we allow PhD candidates to include all the courses they think to be interesting or essential for their education. And we try to build an interdisciplinary community, not only among the students enrolled in our program, but with all PhD candidates at Politecnico di Milano. All the courses on soft skills offered by the PhD school are open to all candidates coming from engineering, coming from design, coming from architecture. They all attend the courses together, know each other, and benefit from knowing each other and studying together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Luca. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Yes? No? Okay. So if there aren't any other questions, I think we might finish here. It was very good having Luca, Mari, and Carolina from Italy, and also Denise and Roberta from here, and all the students. We were in a higher number in the beginning, but of course people have also their commitments, so we are now in 16. But anyway, as it was recorded, we will put in the FAUUSP website, and if Luca wants also, we can share with him. So that the other ones that couldn't come, many people wanted to come, Luca, but as you know, people have classes and other commitments, so they wouldn't be able to. And they asked, "Oh, you have to record it so I can see it afterwards." So we will leave it public so anyone can see. So thank you very much for your presence, Luca, Mariana, Roberta, Denise, and all the students that are still with us. And I hope to see you in February. That I'm planning our visit there. Okay.
Sure, sure. We look forward to host you again.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know if you want to say some words for finishing or just to say goodbye. Anything?
I thank you all for attending. And if anyone has questions, even afterwards this meeting, feel free to contact me by email, okay, for asking anything regarding the PhD program or life in Milano or anything else.
Okay. Thank you very much for this disponibility, Luca. So thank you very much. And I think now we can finish with it. Until
Thank
the
you.
next time. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ok. Thank you all. So, pode parar de gravar, Sildan. Obrigado, viu,
Oi.
Neném? Pode parar de gravar.
Imagina.
Tá bom.
Obrigado. Tchau, tchau. Até mais.